Hello guys, Dr. Blackman here covering this digestive model that's in a sagittal section. Okay. Here's the oral cavity separated from the nasal cavity by the palate, okay, which consists of white here, the hard palate, and yellow and red there, that's the soft palate. This part, the little punching bag in the back of the throat, is the uvula. Okay, so that uvula and the soft palate, when you swallow, it moves up here to completely separate nasal cavity from oral cavity, so that when you eat or drink, that doesn't go up into your nasal cavity. Okay, some of the parts of the oral cavity: tongue, obviously, teeth, lips, cheeks. We already know all of those things. You might not be familiar with this structure, okay? That's the vestibule or oral vestibule. Some people are very specific with that and say oral vestibule. That's between the lips and the gums here, right? Some folks put tobacco there in that region, okay? We already said that the pharynx is the other name for the throat, so you need to know the three different regions of the pharynx. So nasopharynx, oropharynx, laryngo or laryngopharynx, okay? Esophagus, stomach. The separation between esophagus and stomach is called the gastroesophageal sphincter or lower esophageal sphincter. Okay, the parts of the stomach, and I'm going to go over these very quickly because we covered these in a different model: greater curvature, lesser curvature, cardia, fundus, body, pylorus. Okay, the first part of the small intestine is the duodenum or duodenum. This muscle that separates stomach from duodenum is the pyloric sphincter. Okay, these folds of mucosa here are the rugae, R-U-G-A-E. Okay, again, so small intestine, I remember the acronym DJI, duodenum, jejunum, ileum. So duodenum is here, okay, the D. In the middle, sort of here's your jejunum, okay, kind of a funny word. The last part of the small intestine is the ileum, okay, and that's spelled I-L-E-U-M, not I-L-I-U-M. The I-L-I-U-M is part of the hip bone, okay? I-L-E-U-M is part of the digestive system, okay? You can see that the ileum dumps its contents into the large intestine here. So the first pouch here of the large intestine, that's called the cecum. The cecum. And then this structure that hangs off the cecum is the appendix. Okay? Different parts of the large intestine. You have the ascending colon that goes up, the transverse colon, which goes across, the descending colon, which goes down. This then is the sigmoid colon. Okay? Then we have the rectum, where feces is stored until ready to have a bowel movement. Okay. The opening is called the anus. So this portion here, anal canal or anal column. Okay. You have sphincters that keep the anus closed, and those include the external anal sphincters, which are under voluntary control. There. There. Then you have your internal anal sphincters, which are not under voluntary control. And those are there and there. Okay. A couple of other structures that we need to know that are part of the digestive system. This is the liver up in your right upper quadrant that makes bile. There's your gallbladder that stores the bile. Okay, we had a model that had all those digestive ducts in them. The pancreas is part of the digestive system because it releases digestive enzymes. Okay? I'm going to look really quick and see if there are any other structures that I haven't mentioned yet. And there are a couple, okay? Here in the large intestine, where it suddenly takes a 90-degree turn, so when it goes up and then it turns to go across, right? That's a flexure, F-L-E-X-U-R-E, okay? And that has two names. You can call it the hepatic flexure because it's near the liver, or you can call it the right colic flexure, and colic is spelled C-O-L-I-C. That refers to the fact that this is the colon, okay? Over here, this flexure is the left colic flexure, or you can call it the splenic flexure because it's near the spleen, okay? If we go over to this model very quickly, just a couple things I wanted to point out, okay? With the salivary glands, this is the parotid salivary gland, okay? You can see it's located just sort of anterior to the ear there, and there's the little duct that carries the saliva from the parotid gland. And then if we come over here, we can see the other salivary glands, right? If that's the tongue, then it would make sense that this is the sublingual salivary gland, right? Because it's under the tongue. Lingual, think of tongue, right? And because this lower jawbone is the mandible, that would be the submandibular salivary gland, okay? A common mistake that students make, they'll call this the lingual salivary gland, okay? Because they're getting it confused with the lingual tonsil, right? It's the lingual tonsil, but it's the sublingual salivary gland because it's actually under the tongue, not part of the tongue.